Matt Stepp, our high school football insider, TexasFootball.com, has his playoff projections up on the site. And I was kind of rolling through them, looking through his projected brackets. And I came up with the idea that my overwhelming feeling this year, as opposed to last year, is I don't know if there are any real locked and loaded, gotta be considered the favorite teams right now heading into the playoffs. Obviously, things can change in the next couple of weeks, but I feel like last year we had West Orange Stark, who looked like a prohibitive favorite. Bremond looked like a prohibitive favorite. Richland Springs as well. I would say Aledo in that same vein. Am I crazy? Am I missing someone that has to be considered a prohibitive favorite in one of these brackets?
The closest, and I do stress the word closest, the closest thing to that sort of tag, I think, and I think you and I have kind of talked about this, would be Carthage. The closest. And I say that cautionarily. I say closest only because of looking at the difficulties of what the Division I bracket would be in 4A. So it's nothing. No, I agree with you. The less than nothing is definitely assured of being a lock. But if you're going to say, hey, gun to your head, pick one now, who would be the closest thing to a lock? I would say Carthage.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But at the same time, we talked about it on Monday on your show about how 4A Division I is so chock full of contenders and chock full of really quality teams that you're exactly right. Carthage does. I think Carthage may have a claim to being pound for pound the best team in Texas, but at the same time, the path they would have to walk to get there might be the most treacherous of them all.
Which is why I do think if they do follow through and win it, they will perhaps have trod the most impressive path to do it, regardless of classification, regardless of impressiveness of victory or whatever. You know, they could have 6, I don't think this will happen, but they could have 6 games decided by less than 2 touchdowns, and it wouldn't shock me. Now, the first round, probably by district, it would be more than that, but you know, and this is from the category of nothing surprises us anymore, but in their case, it would not surprise me if they had, starting from, say, regional, starting from the 3rd round, if they had hard-fought games all the way through and their championship pedigree and their experience, and, oh, by the way, Keontae Ingram and Scott Surratt and the rest of the talent they have, finds a way to drive them through it to where they ultimately wind up with a state championship, but not the easy route. And if you visit not only with Scott Surratt, and I think you'll agree with me, Tim, if you visit with any coach who has a really good team, just chatted with one this morning, Todd Dodge. If you visit with any coach who has a really good team, they're going to give you the, hey, nothing's easy deal. Todd Dodge reminding the people in Austin today that he'd had the conversation with his booster club when they said, oh, wow, are we rooting for Hayes to beat Vista Ridge so we can go Division II? And again, he brought up the be careful what you wish for because, you know, sure, okay, throw us in Division II. Second round, maybe it's Smithson Valley. You know, just be careful what you wish for because that's why they're the playoffs. And I think there's a misnomer out there, or put it this way, I think there is a little bit of a misconception about the path to a state championship merely because of the proliferation of teams and brackets. Now, we have over 700 schools reach the postseason. And how many times have we heard people harangue on that, oh, it's watered down, there's too many, and blah, 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 blah. And it goes on and on and on. And then you start seeing these teams that went 10-0 in the regular season or 9-1 have to go overtime to win a second-round game. Things like that. There's anything far from being a sure thing, and when you consider the fact that still less than half of the football playing schools are even advancing to the postseason, I don't think there's a watering down. There may be, there's going to be a healthy number of really good teams that we talk about all season long who are going to have pretty easy by-district games. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And maybe even in the area around. After that, no, it's going to get more difficult. So if you want to take it a step further, further and equate it, say, to the NFL playoffs where the top 2 seeds are getting opening round byes, okay, it's kind of in the same category of that. That's why I never had a problem with this system the way it's currently constructed.